Welcome back, aviation fans, to another episode of Imperial Diecast, and today we're going to review an Air India Airbus A310-300 in 1/500 scale by Herpa. This is what the packaging looks like. As you can see, we have here a real picture of the plane. Got the Air India branding, 1/500 scale Herpa. Then here at the side, it doesn't say anything. And here we have the Herpa catalog number 501125. This is with registration. And at the back, we've got the original dimensions with a wingspan of 43.9 meters, a length of 46.66 meters, and a height of 15.8 meters. Now, I believe this is a Wings World exclusive, which means that back in the day you'd have to be a member of the Herpa Wings Club to be able to buy this. But later on it became available to the general market, and that's how I ended up getting it. So let's unbox it. Now, I was able to snag this widebody for just €9.50 plus shipping from an airplane model store called MW-MOBA. And even though it is an OG model with clunky landing gear, its livery more than makes up for it, as you will see. And here it is, the 1/500 scale Air India A310-300. This is the third Air India plane that I've reviewed on my channel, and it's because this is one of my favorite liveries, which is called the Palace in the Sky. And it looks good on any aircraft type, whether it's a 707 or 747 or an Airbus like this one. The livery, introduced with the country's independence in 1947, lasted for 60 years until 2007. Herpa released this model 5 years earlier, in 2002. As for the plane, the A310 is a twinjet, basically an A300 with a shortened fuselage, allowing it to fly around 2,000 kilometers further than the A300-600's range of 7,500 kilometers. The -300, which entered service in 1986, is an improvement over the -200, which had been launched just 3 years earlier in 1983, in that it has a range of 9,500 kilometers, which is 3,000 more than the A310-200, making it obsolete pretty quickly, and so the -300 became the main variant after 1986. So we'll begin our review at the port side of the aircraft at the L1 door. And you can see here that we have a door with a porthole inside. And to the left of it, underneath the cockpit windows, you can see the name of the plane. And it reads, if I can get this to focus, it says Tista. The Tista entered service in 1986 and remained in service until 2008, when it was turned into a cargo plane before being stored in 2012 and scrapped in 2015. And here we have the Indian flag, and then the aircraft type specification, which says A310-300. We've got the Air India titles in Hindi. And then we have these beautiful palatial windows, where like each window of the aircraft has a window frame. We've got the emergency exit door, and the L2 door, and behind it there's another window, and here we have the registration. The registration is Victor Tango Echo Juliet Hotel. And now moving up, we have here the horizontal stabilizers in two-tone with a silver leading edge. We have the vertical stabilizer, which says Air India, and it is made out of plastic, but thankfully it has not yellowed out, so that's good. And now let's take a look at the wings of the plane. And you can see that the wings are also done pretty nicely. We've got a two-tone here as well, and the flaps, the slats, the air brakes, ailerons, etc. are all nicely visible, even though the wings are painted. The crevices are not like covered up in paint, and the trailing edge fairings are also pronounced. Now, this being the A310-300, it's got the winglets, the beacon lights, and looking at the engines, they are pretty simple. However, if you pay attention, you can see that the nacelles have the Sagittarius on them. They've got the silver leading edge, and you can see some detail for the interior as well, with the fan blades. The engines are, of course, General Electric CF6s, and overall, they look okay. And taking a look at the front of the plane, you can see that we have some nice details here. First of all, we have the anti-glare shield underneath the cockpit windows, painted in blue instead of the usual black that you'd expect. And speaking of black, we have the radome at the front as well. So yeah. And here's a look at the starboard side of the aircraft, and you can see that it looks very nice. Herpa made sure to include the cargo doors both at the front, underneath the aircraft specification, and at the back. You can see we have two more. Now, unfortunately, the landing gear is, of course, the OG landing gear, so it looks a bit clunky, but given that this is a wide body, that's not a big issue. At the back, we don't have any kind of APU detailing because this is the old mold. Now, if we take a look at the bottom of the plane, you can see that it says Herpa here, and we've got the detailing for the underside. No registration or anything like that, but it still looks okay. Now here for comparison, I have a 767-200, which was Boeing's first wide-body twinjet meant to compete with the A300. Yes, the A310 had a wider cabin, but it also had more seating capacity, so it wasn't exactly more comfy for the average passenger. So you can see how the 767 has better flight characteristics in the form of a larger wingspan and narrower fuselage, allowing it to fly further than both the A300 and even the shortened A310-200. And once the 767-200 had been upgraded to the ER, it also beat the A310-300 with its 12,200 kilometer range compared to the A310-300's 9,500 kilometers. And from here you can tell the 767-200 is a tiny bit longer than the A310. So I hope you guys liked my review of the 1/500 scale Herpa Airbus A310-300 in the old Air India livery. I think it holds up really nicely after all these years in terms of livery detail and all that. Although, of course, the plane model itself could have used a bit more detail, but it still looks good. And if you want to see more reviews like this, make sure to watch them here. And I hope you guys have a great day. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.